The country is another step closer to a shutdown of the federal government as the budget battle generates more bickering in Congress and creates outrage around the country. KCAL 9 political reporter Bryan has been following all of today's developments. He's spoken to members of Congress from California, and he's here with the very latest now. Dave.
That's right, Sylvia. And as we've seen in the past, the finger-pointing festival in Washington is underway. The government is at stake at this point. It was what we unfortunately have become familiar with in Washington, if not comfortable with. Republicans blaming the president for refusing to negotiate on their demands. Democrats charging the GOP leadership in the House has been cowed by the Tea Party and Libertarians. And now the Senate has voted, and the next move is up to the House. On party-line votes, the Senate passed a bill funding the federal government while rejecting a provision to defund the Affordable Care Act.
The yeas are 54, the nays are 44. The amendment is agreed to.
And while the 44 Republicans all voted against it, there were clearly some deep divisions among them on what Texas Senator Ted Cruz, the leader of the Obamacare rebellion, called a critical procedural vote.
It is not easy to disagree with your political party. But at the end of the day, what we're doing here is bigger than partisan politics.
More than half his fellow Republicans defied Cruz, including his fellow Texan John Cornyn, second in command in the GOP leadership hierarchy.
I say my friends who say we ought to shut the government down to get rid of Obamacare, that it won't work.
That was the one thing more Democrats and Republicans agreed on.
Shutting down the government for Obamacare is like canceling the World Series because your team didn't make it.
At the White House, President Obama warned Republicans not to shut down the government and shut down the economy.
It would throw a wrench into the gears of our economy at a time when those gears have gained some traction.
But many House Republicans charge it's the president who's refusing to negotiate a compromise.
If we get some goodwill from the White House, instead of them repeating over and over again, no negotiations, we're not negotiating. Hey, this guy's willing to negotiate with Putin, and negotiate about Syria, and negotiate with the Iranian mullahs, but he isn't willing to negotiate with the House of Representatives who are elected by his own people.
But Democrats charge the Republicans who control the House have become a party of dysfunction.
The majority party has to govern. It's okay to be dysfunctional if you're not running the place, but they are. So they're going to have to get their act together. I still believe we will avoid a shutdown, but we're coming perilously close. More important, this has got to stop. Fiscal cliff, government shutdown, debt ceiling.
And caught in the middle right now are 800,000 non-essential federal workers who are expected to be furloughed if no agreement is reached in time, including civilians working for the military, national parks employees, and workers in federal facilities like the Smithsonian Institute and federal passport offices. And applications for small business loans and government-insured mortgages would be put on hold. But most government functions like mail delivery would continue. Social Security checks would be processed, but there could be delays. Airport screeners, air traffic controllers, and border guards would stay on the job, as would the uniformed military. But their pay for troops overseas could be delayed. Here's the latest on the weekend. House Republicans have a crucial caucus meeting tomorrow scheduled at noon Eastern Time. They're expected to then move into session on both Saturday and Sunday. That caucus is expected to consider at least 3 possible proposals for a compromise, but one of them, delaying the opening of the Affordable Care Act for 1 year, would probably be DOA with Democrats.